As we progress to a new age of information, we are encountering more and more obstructions. All of our information is being stored online, including medical, financial, and personal. We need to find innovating ways to secure and authenticate our systems. Attackers are finding vulnerabilities at an exponential rate faster than we can patch them. Is your banking information secure online? How are you preventing unauthorized users from accessing your accounts? How are you managing to store all the different passwords you have for different accounts? We must defend our castle from attackers trying to enter our castle walls. How many times have you had to change your password for accounts that you have online in the past 3 months? How would you explain to your family that your assets have been taken by an online compromise? I see a calamity approaching, and it unnerves me. More and more data is being compromised online. So let us rise as the battle rages on to fight against these cyber attacks. The war is ours. Facial recognition can be utilized as a weapon to combat unauthorized access. So we will initiate by discussing what types of attacks your passwords are vulnerable to. We will see how we can utilize facial recognition and biometrics in efforts to avoid unauthorized intrusion. And we will expand on how we can use facial recognition to implement in our daily lives. So let's go ahead and take a look at the enemy's arsenal. According to a book written by Justin Seitz, published on April 13, 2021, called Black Hat Python for Ethical Hackers and Pen Testers, Justin Seitz writes that an attacker could utilize a program called a keylogger to intercept passwords. An attacker is notified whenever you enter and key a password on your keyboard. According to a article written by John McPayo, written December 2020, an article called Development Password Cracking Tools, an attacker can utilize a dictionary attack and a brute force attack. Both attacks involve a program trying every possible combination of characters until your password is cracked. According to the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Securities Agency, in an article published March 27, 2018, an article called Creating and Managing Strong Passwords, explained that it is recommended that a different password is used for each different account that you have online. The issue with this is that having multiple passwords for multiple accounts leads for users forgetting their passwords. They also recommend a multi-form authentication process. For example, when you want to access your Google account, Google will ask you to verify a text message verification code. The issue with this being that you may not have access to that telephone number anymore at the time when you want to enter your Google account. So this can be an inconvenience. They also recommend that we create and update our passwords periodically every 3 months. The issue with this, as seen by Yasmin Abdu in a article published May 8th, 2021, called Investigating the Effect of Password Strength on Cognitive Load. Yasmin writes that it is important to use special characters. It is important to update the passwords every 3 months. The issue with doing so is users are using weak passwords in efforts to remember their passwords because they have to update them every 3 months. So this becomes a security issue. So let's go ahead and raise our weapon and combat a online intrusion using facial recognition. Zarkowski writes June 2020 in a article called Journal Physics. Facial recognition is a technology that measures your facial features. It measures the dimensions such as depth, length, and width. This information is processed through a software. The software develops a mathematical algorithm that is unique to your identity. The algorithm is then encrypted, and this is how we create a password authentication using biometrics, facial recognition. The great advantage of using biometrics and facial recognition is that it is hard for an attacker to replicate your face. According to an article written by Elizabeth McLennan, published October 2020, an article called Facial Recognition Technology Balancing Benefits and Concerns. Elizabeth McLennan describes that utilizing facial recognition is a fast form of authentication. We are seeing this technology available in applications. We are seeing this technology available on devices such as smartphones and laptops. We also see this technology available when making purchases. Now, according to an article written by Zongyang Wang, written and published March 23rd, 2020, article called Recognition, Dataset, and Application, Wang writes that facial recognition has a 95% accuracy rate. So we are closer to winning this war. We can definitely use facial recognition biometrics in efforts to combat an online intrusion. So let's go ahead and discuss what steps we can take into further implementing this technology in our everyday lives. We encourage users to set up facial recognition authentication on applications. We have applications available to us now, such as the Wells Fargo banking online app, where we can utilize this technology to authenticate instead of using a password. We also encourage you to educate your friends and family. Many of them are still unknown to this information available to them. And even though biometrics has promising effects for the near future, it is still encouraged to use proper password managing practices, such as having uppercase letters, using special characters, using lengthy passwords, not using anything that is on a dictionary. If it's available on a dictionary, it's probably not a good password. So we can definitely use this little giant facial recognition to prevent malicious users accessing your information online. So we have discussed problems with password being compromised, what attacks are available to crack a password. We have seen how we can utilize biometrics and facial recognition to prevent a intruder using your password to enter without permission. We also expanded on what steps we can take with using facial recognition and implementing it in our everyday lives. I believe that facial recognition is a promising tool in the future. So the best way to prevent an attack is taking the proper precautions. Every day we are finding new threats. We want technology working for us as opposed to against us. So we will not be intimidated by this concatenated computer complications. Don't be afraid of change. Change is today. Whatever you do from here, it's completely up to you.